Evening shortcuts, and here we are with video 2 for February 8th. And we will cover, believe or believe it not, new wave, some pop, prog, definitely some ska, some rockabilly, and some thrash metal. And some classic rock, of course. So, I love this selection of records. I'll be very curious as to what you guys make of this. So let's start here. I've been looking for this record for a long time, and of course, the proverbial bus happened. Two came along at once. So I've got one on my own shelf, and I've got one here for you guys. Actually, that applies to the second record here too. This is Orange Juice, Rip It Up. Scottish band. This is their second record. It followed pretty hot on the heels of the first record, but it outstrips the first record massively. Rip It Up being one of my favourite singles of the 80s. But opening track of the record, a kind of squelchy keyboard, really upbeat, cannot help but dance, and then that Edwyn Collins baritone. Of course, he went on to have that hit, A Girl Like You. But then, through the course of this record, there's a kind of a reggae and a new wave feel that comes through the music, and it's utterly wonderful and disarming. And of course, it's in the 1,000 Records You Must Hear Before You Die by Robert. I can't remember his surname now, but that's when I first came across it, and it's wonderful. And so's this record. That's Japanese First Press. This is Japanese First Press too. This is Propaganda by Sparks. Their fourth record. The utterly odd guys from, I think it's Austria. Could be Austria. But it's like it's like pop music, kind of a little bit through the Queen blender, in that it's operatic and big. But ideas flying at you left, right, and centre, melodies that are chopped and then spliced together, the funnest lyrics, the whole thing just feels like a splurge of joy. And once you listen to one Sparks record, you'll be hooked. And the one before this, Kimono, I can't remember it off the top of my head, is just as good. But Propaganda is wonderful. Give Sparks a listen. They'll brighten up your life. Now this is a UK. Actually, there's 3 UK presses in a row of, I guess we'll call these prog records. I mean, I think Grace Under Pressure by Rush constitutes a prog record. Maybe starting to veer a little bit toward they're more pop oriented. This is on the Vertigo label, a UK copy, and very, very lovely it is too. I guess the now that Neil Peart's no longer with us, these records are to be treasured, and this is a really, really beautiful copy. So 2 UK first presses here for Pink Floyd. The UK first press of Atom Heart Mother on Gatefold, on the EMI label, of course. A classic. Do we have to talk about the cows? But also a UK first press of Relics. Maybe underappreciated record. And I think worthy of exploration. Of course, Interstellar Overdrive is spectacular. How about this? This is something else. Mark Bolan and T-Rex, Zinc Alloy and the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow, a Japanese hard cardboard gatefold of my beloved T-Rex. This record being the closest Mark Bolan ever got to James Brown. It is a full-on funk record. The Japanese, I get this, I love these, you know how much I love these. It's a Japanese white label promo, never been sold before on Discogs, and it comes with this really rather special booklet that has some very cool photographs of Mark, this type of imagery, and this, yeah, I've got two of these, and it's time for someone else to try and make sense of what is a mystifying record in many ways. It certainly mystified critics at the time, but is worthy of re-examination. His guitar playing on this record is really something. And, you know, it's super rare. You'll search a long way before finding another copy like that. Now, I will say that's a cult record, but maybe this next one is a cult classic. Wales's Budgie. This is In For The Kill, their fourth record. This is the UK first press of Budgie's In For The Kill on MCA. Far superior to the Aussie presses of this record. Budgie being a three-piece with Neil Burge and various other folk. Metallica adored this band and covered Crash Course in Brain Surgery on one of their garage EPs. But the absolute pièce de résistance of this record is Zoom Club. An absolute beast of a song. The riffage is off the charts and is like Led Zeppelin on speed, except better than that sounds. It's utterly wonderful. Very few of those songs on Spotify. Actually, Crash Course in Brain Surgery is on Spotify. I'll give you a sense of it. But the record's much more varied than that speed demon of a song. So what about this? This is a very early Japanese press of Cheap Thrills by Big Brother and the Holding Company, which is, of course, Janis Joplin and a bunch of blokes who were quite good at playing their instruments. I do love the cartoon that came with the Japanese press of this, and rather lewd it is as well. But I think Janis's best record. Now, behind Tons of Sobs, this is my personal favourite Free record. This is Highway by Free. In the sleeve, it actually has the Obi with it. But this is a lot more laid back and mellow than some records of theirs, including singles like The Stealer, Be My Friend. But it's really lovely, well worth seeking out. Now, this band is one of my favourite 60s and early 70s bands from California. It's Moby Grape. This is the Japanese pressing of their fifth album, 20 Granite Creek, which we introduced them to with their with the producer from their first couple of classic records. Super rare. You can't even find this in Discogs, let alone, figure out what to do. It's on the original Reprise label. I adore Moby Grape, psychedelic rock of the highest order. Now, how about Gentle Giant, Free Hand? Their first record on the Chrysalis label. A prog classic. It really is. And it's a really lovely copy. Transitioning from prog to a bit of high-end pop, I always grab the Japanese first press of Let's Dance by Bowie when I see it, because it sounds unbelievably good. And I mean that. Unbelievably good. And has some of Bowie's greatest ever singles. In fact, if you were to pluck, I would say, any of his albums and say, is there a suite of singles as good as the three great classics from this, like Modern Love, China Girl, and Let's Dance? I don't think there's anything. Maybe Hunky Dory, but even then, I don't think. You get Changes in Life on Mars, but what's the third single? This one is something else. We can have that argument another time. And from a pop classic from the 80s to a pop classic of the 70s, this is Dream Police by the mighty Cheap Trick. Now, this is a hard cardboard gatefold. I think arguably their best record. I do love that lineup in the inside. We're reminiscent a little bit of Roxy Music's For Your Pleasure. But what I also love about this is it comes with a Japanese extra that is somewhat rare. It is this. It's a flexi picture disc. Can you see that? Yeah, with kind of COD signatures on the back. I've played it. It's interesting. Fun and beautiful. Well, the album itself is just a hook machine. You will sing song after song after song. Cheap Trick were something else. Talking about a band that were awesome at singles, what about this? Japanese first press of The Jam, Setting Suns. The Jam's fourth record. And, I think critically acclaimed is right up there with All Mod Cons as maybe their best. Certainly one of their heaviest. And now, there are a few bands that the Japanese presses far exceed Australian and European presses, in my estimation anyway. And the Jam is one of them. The Japanese presses of the Jam are quite revelatory, quite addictive. When you get one, you're going to want them all. But they're quite rare. They're very tightly held. It's really hard to get All Mod Cons and Setting Suns and those ones at a reasonable price. So I was quite pleased to find that. Highly, highly recommended. A couple of oddities to finish that are really fun and I think could be something that folk out there would love more than me. The Rockabilly Ska Blue Meanies, American band. This is their Full Throttle record. US first press in perfect condition. And some thrash. This is there's the band. This is Wrathchild America, and the record is 3D, their second record. One of the best reviewed thrash records of the 90s. I think it's 1991. And I put it on my player, and approximately 7 seconds after I put it on, my wife came out and let me do an impression. What the flock is that? So, interpret that positively. I didn't bother explaining. I just did what I was told and removed it forthwith. But it is a riff fest, and I was mighty impressed with the slab of noise that exploded out of my KEF LS50 wirelesses. So for the right player out there, someone's going to get a very loudly pleasurable experience. So there you go. What a mix. I love it. All right. As always, if you need anything, hit me up. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Let's grow this little club. It helps me to keep it alive. And thank you for watching.